Hello and welcome to our new podcast series, Scam or Saviour.
In this series, we will choose potentially controversial topics to discuss and dissect in a, quite frankly, surface level way. We're going to put matters to rest and deduce with our extremely unprofessional and non-specialised experience whether or not something is a scam and should be cancelled or is in fact the saviour of the human race.
The Saviour.
Oh.
We are your hosts, Georgina Currie, that's me, and Tziporah Abraham.
Hey.
And today we're going to be exploring Mars colonization. Is it a scam and should we cancel Elon Musk? Or is it the future of humanity and our absolute saviour?
Okay, so it's a lot to unpack here.
Yes, an intense one. It's a big one.
It's a big one.
It's a big one.
Going into this, do you feel like Mars is the future? Are you interested in space or do you not give two shits?
Okay, so it's not that I don't give two shits. It's that it is certainly nowhere near the top of my priority list, but I don't not find it engaging. So my partner and your partner love space. And
Obsessed.
So I have no option but to hear a lot about space anyway, which, you know, is great because I don't have to do anything. It's not my hobby, it's not my big interest, but I get to find out all these really like key little breadcrumb pieces of information. And as far as Mars being the future goes, you know, I would like it to be like, that'd be fucking cool. I don't have to love space, I think, to understand that. I think that is a really cool idea and an incredible concept.
Yeah. So I'm also of that opinion that we should definitely have space exploration.
Yeah.
I'm not really that interested in all the depths of the details quite to the extent that our partners are.
Right.
But
yeah.
I do really support their enjoyment of it. And also I feel certainly, I don't know about you, but since being with my partner, I've learned so much about space and science and the benefits. Like there were so many things that I did not know that space exploration has given us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you guys are great, and I think you're particularly good because you are really willing and ready to engage in a lot of the conversation about it and hear a lot about the theory and the understanding and all of this kind of stuff. I am also willing, but because my guy knows that I'm not that interested, he won't even, like, rarely brings it up because he saw my face one time when he said, "Oh, it's my turn to pick a movie this week. Can we watch a space movie?" And my face just kind of went, again. Do we have to? And ever since that point, he's kind of shied away from talking about it. No. And I feel so bad. But yeah, there's so much that I do get to find out that, like you, like I don't have to do the research personally, and I get to find out all these really interesting bits and pieces. But your partner's actually doing a space course now, isn't he? He's really keen.
He is really keen. He is doing the astrobiology course at the Greenwich Observatory.
Which sounds so cool.
And it's all about, like, okay, now I'm just trigger warning to my partner and other space enthusiasts out there. I am going to reduce this to one point. It's basically about about life outside of our planet,
which is literally what we're going to be talking about today, isn't it?
Oh, yes,
to some extent.
Mars colony,
right?
Ooh. We are here today, as we said in the introduction, to decide whether it's a scam or we should forget about it, or whether it should be cancelled. And we are going to be raising a couple of points on each, which will be damning and some which will be fascinating. So
yeah, whether it's a scam or a saviour. I think you've said whether it should be cancelled or a scam there, which are both
cancelled or a scam. Just a Freudian slip, maybe. No. So innovations in an audacious goal such as colonising Mars can have lots of cascading effects simply by solving the numerous problems along the way to make it feasible. MRI, for example, wouldn't actually exist if not for the invention of the underlying technologies by NASA.
Oh, so what you're saying is whether we get the end result we want or not, by doing the research and having these technological developments, we are advancing in other areas.
Yeah, for sure. So
That's cool. Yeah, okay.
basically, a lot of the photographing technologies that NASA created ended up being the basis of MRI scans, and
Did
MRI
they?
scans save loads and loads and loads of lives. So that's
I didn't know that.
super cool. And essentially, now there are a bunch of problems that we think we can solve by exploring Mars and colonizing Mars. So one of the problems involved is to do with rockets. So at the moment, it's extremely expensive to send rockets to space because they're not
Mm,
reusable for the most part. Like,
mm-hmm.
imagine if you took a flight to Japan and they started breaking up the plane on every journey. It wouldn't be very economically viable. And I
Yeah.
cannot imagine many people being comfortable getting on a plane that like breaks in half.
Uh,
Can
maybe the adventurers among us, maybe that's something they can market as a once in a lifetime experience.
you imagine though what the seas would be like if just every aeroplane broke in half? Can you imagine what that would be
Yeah, it's
like?
not exactly economical, is it? It's not
No,
exactly good for climate change. It's not the direction we want to go in.
it is not the direction we want to go in. And actually, that just made me think of something from when we were kids. Do you ever remember being told as a kid that when planes flew overhead, that the way they got rid of waste, as in toilet waste, was just
Oh, it's to
to
just
jettison it?
yeah, is that true?
I don't know. Is
I'm
it
gonna I'm gonna do I'm gonna do
a
a
live
little
Google?
Google while I tell you why I think this is too little too late for me to some extent. I did a lesson with my kids like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we were doing, what were we writing? It was either a persuasive article or a persuasive letter. I think it was an article. And in one of our lessons, we explored space exploration. I got them to think about whether they believe it to be worth it financially. And we
Mm.
were looking at, all of this money that goes into space exploration, the things we could find. And there was also this uh, f- clear element of we could be using this money to do things, it on Earth to make Earth better, because we've done so many things wrong to Earth already. But I think it's really interesting that you've now said even through doing or reaching for space exploration we can still gain so much here, like that MRI fact that
Yeah.
you told me. So I wish I'd known that and I could have told my kids.
So this is a really cool historical thing, but a lot of the things they could do. So, for example, I've just said that rockets are very expensive and they fall apart, and that sounds like a scam. Like, oh, sounds very expensive. Where are my taxpayers' money going to? But if you solve this problem, then you can create loads and loads of benefits
Mm,
outside of the space program, including it being much cheaper to launch satellites. And satellites are really
right.
important because they monitor the planet for climate change research and impacts. They also provide communication services and GPS. Like, we wouldn't be able to text or call each other if we didn't have satellites. Um, so if you can make it cheaper and more efficient to send things up to space, then we're going to make all sorts of things outside the space program much, much better. So I think we're at the point now in the world where the space program isn't just about exploring space, but it's also about on Earth things that we need for functioning, like satellites.
Yeah.
Um,
That's great. So
yeah.
I have the update on the
Oh, the poop.
sewage issue.
The sewage is.
So in keeping with our theme, I've got the incredibly legit and credible source that is Wikipedia up on my phone. Uh, so blue ice, in the context of aviation, is frozen sewage material that has leaked mid-flight from commercial aircraft lavatory waste systems. It's a mixture of human bio-waste and liquid disinfectant that freezes at a high altitude. The name comes from the blue color of disinfectant. Airlines are not allowed to dump their waste tanks in mid-flight, and pilots have no mechanism by which to do so. However, in this case, blue ice case, some leaks do occur. So you don't do it, but it can
Accidents
happen.
happen.
And I
Accidents
don't really
happen.
know what they do with it. I'm assuming they maybe have some kind of tank then that it all goes into, and then, I mean, what happens if people have like a lot of shit?
What if it just overloads?
yeah,
This
like
is
they must guess, I suppose, how many people they can have on their plane, and then create a sewage tank fit for the right size of carrier based on how far they go. No,
imagine
but like this is a real issue.
I'm just
What
trying
if it? What if, what if people have like? What if everyone on the flight gets food poisoning, right? And half of
Oh, that
their
would be bad.
contents just comes out.
All I
Where
can
does it go?
I'm just trying to imagine like this leaky plane, like an incontinent plane.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. It's
like
that's
a
what the
person.
trail in the sky is. That's the blue ice freezing and going into water vapor.
Oh, I digress anyway because I think we're slightly veering off the topic.
Yeah. Do we have any more saviors? Tell me
Oh,
why else?
Yeah. So, cheaper. If we can make rockets much cheaper and much more affordable, then this would help us as a stepping stone for venturing further out into the solar system. And
Great.
this doesn't just extend towards creating a new habitable life on another planet, but it'll actually a more reasonable current goal is to do with asteroid mining. So because
Oh.
the metals on Earth are very finite and we are
Mhm.
using them at an extraordinary rate, a lot of the very precious metals we use are used in electronics, and we're heavily reliant on electronics. They have quite a large negative environmental output due to the digging up of a lot of large amounts of land, sifting through rubble, that sort of thing. But instead of getting our precious metals from Earth, we could get our valuable metals, such as platinum, from asteroids.
That's cool. That's so cool. But if an
Yeah.
asteroid is moving, how do you land on a moving asteroid?
It's all to do with orbiting. So,
Okay.
because the Earth is moving constantly at ridiculous speeds.
Yeah.
So, whenever they estimate it takes 6 months to get to Mars, but you can only make that journey once every 2 years because of the orbiting.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're flying in a straight direction. You're actually using physics to bounce off orbits and use gravity and that sort of thing, as well as rocket fuel and power. So it's really cool, amazing.
I'm saying yeah,
mathematical-
like I get it, but I literally only get it because I've watched like 3 movies about Mars recently with my boyfriend, who has then explained everything
what
to
they're
me.
on about.
So if I sound like I get it, genuinely, this has all been explained to me before, and you're just kind of reaffirming what I think about the situation up there.
So if we can, so essentially there are actually trillions of asteroids which are packed full of precious metals that we need.
Did you say astronoid or asteroid? I swear you said astronoid. So when kids, when an astronaut and an asteroid come together, they have a very special hug, and a little astronoid is made.
Please don't put ideas into Frank's head.
What does that even mean?
Like, look, if he gets the idea that him and an asteroid can have a baby, he's going to be applying for NASA.
I don't think he quite likes space that much. He likes it, but I don't think he wants to fuck an asteroid.
Well, that's reassuring. You don't look so certain, though.
I am certain. He's going to listen to this. I am certain. Right, give me another savior. Moving on.
Okay, well, apart from, so we've got number 1, we can like make medical shit happen. Number 2, we
Took
can
you a while. We
I
can
know.
I think you need to write a finite bullet point of these.
No, okay. What are you saying about my notes? But be nice here. Our researcher worked hard for this shit.
I'm
Right,
so proud.
Number 2, we can reduce or even stop mining on Earth and put it to places where there are no global environmental consequences.
Which is a great one.
Which is a really good one. It was basically, so just to add to the MRI thing, the Apollo program, there was like a 400,000 person effort that put those astronauts on the moon.
Yeah.
Our knowledge of the solar system has actually increased dramatically since then. So if you can take these challenges that NASA overcame, it basically forced the agency and its partners to devise new inventions and techniques that spread into public life. many of which are actually we take for granted all the time. And when we say, oh, I think it's a waste of money, well, remember that CAT scan you had?
I know, I suppose, you know, the life-saving thing, the climate change thing, those are two things, especially right now when you think about it, when we're going through a global pandemic and we need to use the NHS so much, and when we are fucking up the planet and we need to now, you know, I don't even want to say fix, because sometimes there's just no fix. It's just kind of adapting with what we have and making it better. You know, those are two very, very good arguments. So I'm interested to see where you go now with the scam section, because I'm quite convinced.
Exactly. And just to kind of quickly finish things off, this is just like the tip of the iceberg of the things that NASA have been able to create. So digital flight controls, adapting systems which are now used in airplanes, commonly used in airplanes. Digital fly-by-wire technology also appears in car features like cruise control, anti-lock brakes, and electronic stability control systems. Also, even food safety, vacuum sealed foods came from the Apollo program.
I suppose on the flip side of that, the only thing I can say is it's really promoting transport and travel and plastic to some extent. Three things which we also don't want. So I guess that's the flip side of the Saviour thing. Like, we have all these cool advances, but do we want to be using them as often anyway? Yeah,
there are some other problems that could come as a result from, for example, the overuse of vacuum packed plastics. But here are kind of some of the big reasons.
The big no-nos.
Okay?
I'm excited.
Cost.
Yeah.
Cost is going to be a massive factor. I mean, just think how expensive that is. Just think if we can get to Mars, why can't we solve world hunger?
Right. So this is what my kids were saying in the class. Like, so on one hand, we are able to use all this technology to create some amazing things, but those amazing things aren't 100% perfect, are they? And in the grand scheme of things, using all of this money to get to another planet means that we aren't always focusing as much on the planet we have currently. But, you know?
I will add to that is kind of down to governments as well, because
so it's not just like we should, like, let's just take the money from Mars and do something else with it. It's the whole bureaucracy around that.
Yeah, because also the budget for NASA in the States, I think is only something like 1 billion or 2 billion. Which sounds like a huge... Well, but if you compare that to what America spends on its military, I think their budget was like 700 billion.
Wow, okay.
I mean, just even if you just took 1 more billion of that military budget and put it towards a national health service in America, that would make a massive difference. Or education. So I feel a bit...
I suppose that's very much an American issue. Like, please stop spending so much on defense and start spending more on your people.
Right, exactly. Okay, so this is one of, like, that's a massive thing. And I know I kind of just gave you a bit of a counter argument there, but that's one of the things that I think of when I think of the cost thing.
Well, that's the point of this.
When you put it into perspective, the cost... Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
The issues that you would face when you get to Mars... Right. So Mars is completely just not for humans to live on. It's no life on Mars.
Freezing cold, isn't it? Really, really cold.
It's cold, dusty, and radioactive with hardly any atmosphere.
You know how I know this?
Go on.
That Matt Damon movie, the one where he gets lost in space again.
Yes, when he's stuck on Mars.
The other one when we watched that not that long ago, and that was the one that I made the face about having to watch, and then we watched it and I was like, actually, this is it was too long.
What?
But that's that's something separate. It's nothing to do with the movie. So separate point to this, just to add it in. I in lockdown can't sit down and watch a 2-hour movie anymore. I want a 30 to 40 minute episode. And that's me. And that lockdown has changed that. So I found that movie too long in general just because I can't sit through a movie anymore.
Well, that's a separate issue altogether. And nothing
but I thought
it
was interesting. Anyone else who can't sit through a movie, let me know.
It's also got no magnetic field. So you have tremendous technological things to overcome.
Yeah.
And the risk of then sending humans to that planet to colonize with all these issues, it's not only going to cost a ton of money, but it's also going to cost human life, because inevitably things are going to go wrong. And imagine if you can only send help to space once every 2 years.
Yeah.
Eee.
Yeah.
If you can only send resources, what if people starve? What if a technology fails and everybody dies?
Well, see,
what are you going to do?
did you watch the recent George Clooney space drama on Netflix? The one where Earth is hit by a massive freeze and there are astronauts in space and they're one of the last like living people. Did you watch this?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's really good. So basic premise, George Clooney is an incredible physicist and he's stuck down on Earth in one of the last kind of areas where you can connect with the astronauts. He's trying to connect to these people and there's a story about why he's doing this that's interlinked through the whole thing, and you'll find out if you watch it. It's actually really good. And basically Earth is like completely frozen over and he's saying like, don't come back down, you are our only chance of creating an entire new species up there on a different planet. And I was going to ask you if you remember whether it was Mars or not, but I can't remember. And it was very interesting. It bleeds into this point, you know, if we fuck up here and we still haven't fixed stuff there and we've spent everything on the wrong place, you know, like what do we do?
So you have to make sure because we'll never get, unless we fix our planet, we're never going to make it to Mars. We'll never get that far. But the other thing is, what if, let's say we fix global warming, we fix the planet, and then we send a bunch of astronauts up to space and they all die. We know about it, but we can't do anything to help them or save them for a year and a half, let's say.
Yeah, and that's that's that Matt Damon one, isn't it? Where he's gonna run out of food.
Yeah,
and they have to get to him before that happens because things keep fucking up on Mars.
Exactly, and he was not able. Well, just his journey home was like completely ridiculous. That would not have realistically been possible. Excuse the siren.
Oh, sorry.
But just remember, like, you know, the first colonies in the New World back in, you know, the time where they were like, oh, we've just discovered the Americas. This is the New World. The first colonies were an absolute failure. People died and they couldn't send ships.
All the time.
And it's like that. They couldn't grow food. You wouldn't be able to grow food easily on Mars. Their crops failed. They had disease and sickness. And they couldn't send more food and resources to the colonies because it took too long for the ships to get there. Yeah. You have a similar, or there's at least like a parallel issue of like the cost of life. And imagine if you spend all that money and resources for a bunch of people to die. What if the public just lose hope and then you've wasted all this money? So there's definitely a human impact because it's almost certain that things are going to go wrong, that there are things you can't predict that will happen out there.
But it will also,
this is
like, we are so far behind where we need to be that it won't be, I don't think there'll be a huge cock up in our lifetime, if that makes sense. Like that issue, I think would happen in like maybe our grandchildren's lifetime. Like I think we still have that.
Yeah, that's true.
Amount of, you know, like it won't be me and you. So like to some extent, I'm like, oh great, well we'll just continue researching Mars then.
But there was a 1980s space disaster where everybody died because was it Columbia? Oh yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, so Space Shuttle Columbia was
so savage. I was trying to be all lighthearted there, and then you bring it right back down with a whole load of death.
I'm so sorry. In 2003, 7 crew members died, all of them, when it re-entered. So everything was fine. They went up. Everything was good. But then when it came down, it just basically disintegrated. The whole thing fell apart and exploded.
Malfunctions are relatively common, though, are they not?
Some malfunctions are common, but in this case, it was like the smallest issue caused the whole thing to fall apart. And then there was one of the 80s.
That's what it is, I think, isn't it? It could be a tiny, tiny thing.
Challenger. Sorry. Oh, so here's my researcher has just spoken to me through the ether and has told me that it was Challenger, sorry, in the 1980s that Okay, thanks. So then on top of the 2003, you get 1986, where you had the Challenger, where basically like there was some poor engineering and an O-ring froze and then leaked stuff, and then it exploded. So the thing exploded, and on that one they had put a regular civilian on the flight.
Right.
So somebody who was not a trained astronaut, she was a teacher.
Right.
She was going to go up and do some like lessons in space to basically get people engaged in space again, to get people all excited. Oh, space.
I mean, you say not a trained astronaut, but she would have had to have passed so many tests to even get there. So
yeah.
her job title wasn't an astronaut, but she was fit enough to probably be an astronaut. You know, she wasn't going up because she was to be.
No. Absolutely. She wasn't. Yeah, she had to go through lots and lots of training, but you should watch the documentary about the Challenger disasters. I think it's 3 or 4 episodes on Netflix about the build up and why it all went wrong, how they selected her to go up. But no, she was not an astronaut. She could not deal with disasters or accidents. She was just there she knew enough to be able to live there, go and do the flight, teach a couple of lessons and come back. It really was not intended to go that way. So we need to sum up.
Yeah, I think so. We've got to decide whether it's a scam or a savior, right? I feel like maybe next time we should start with a scam and then go with a savior. It's been a depressing end.
Well,
at least we got fucking problems.
At least we got a little a little interval about plane poop.
Yes, that was interesting. Actually, I really did think that they just dumped it.
That's what I got told when I was a kid by other kids.
I used to jump on my trampoline in my garden, and think, what if it? I don't know. I would watch planes going over. Yeah, I would watch it. It was the fear of bird poo landing on you, like the fact that it was so real, despite the fact that it was thousands of miles above your head. It was totally possible if you were jumping on a trampoline for people's shit to hit you from that plane.
Yeah, that's what I thought, genuinely.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10-year-old me.
Misguided people we were and have continued to be.
So it's time. I need your verdict.
Okay.
Scam or savior?
You know what? I'm gonna say savior. I'm gonna say savior because I think as humans we need to test what's possible. I think we need hope. I think we need something that is going to, I don't know, something that is going to be exciting, something that is really going to change life. Like, as people, we cannot just, now that we know we can go somewhere else, somewhere really far away, somewhere incredible, into space, we are never going to let that go. So I don't think it's just even if I said it was a scam, we're not going to just stop doing space exploration. Yeah. And I think there are things that we can find out about our planet from other planets. I do believe that. For sure. So I'm gonna go savior because I like the idea.
It's just really hard because my researcher, my boyfriend, was trying not. He's really biased towards this, and he likes space. It, right? Loves space. He's really excited by space. Loves NASA. He would love to be an astronaut. They are hiring, by the way, in Europe.
I saw that. Frank was literally like, they're hiring astronauts, and I went, could you be an astronaut? And he kind of went, no.
Yeah, actually, I am gonna say savior as well. So
yeah, the arguments were very compelling. Yeah,
that's it. Savior of the human race in our unprofessional, unexperienced, non-specialized way. We have decided that the Mars colony is going to save the human race.
Yeah, it's legit. We're not cancelling it. It's not fake news. It is the second coming.
But it was really hard not to be biased and he tried so hard. He really did. And I went through it and I was very firm. He actually got annoyed with me because he was like, you're not reading or listening to my points.
No. This was good. I thought the scam arguments were very compelling as well. And I do agree with a lot of them. I think that's why I actually have, I struggle to make a choice and make a choice quickly. And I've really pushed myself to do that this time. And I'm going to do that every Scam and Savior episode.
This is good for you. You need to learn to be more black and white, less... See the world
Oh.
in less nuance, please, G. That's what we want in this world.
Well, thank you for this. Our first Scam and Saviour episode. You've done
It's been
such
glorious.
a good job,
Oh,
Zippy.
Thank you so
I
much.
loved it. And anyone, if you want to get in touch with us, tell us whether you think this is a scam or a savior. I'll probably do a poll on my Instagram. That's
Yeah.
the.confidence.diaries. But we will we also have our email, which is let's talk about podcastuk@gmail.com. I've got my blog as well if you want to go check us out. That's the-confidence-diaries. And there's very little up there on the moment. On the moment? At the moment.
In the moment.
On the moment. But
Be
I'm
in
going
the
to do my
moment, G.
best to get my shit together once my my next essay is submitted.
Hashtag student life. Student
Student life.
Speaking of which, I am so excited for our next interview. She
Yes.
is also doing her PGDE, which is the Scottish version of a PGCE, and it's so
Yeah.
exciting. Her name is
Kirsty Taylor.
She's phenomenal, and I'm really
She
excited.
is great. She has so many things going on in her life, and we're going to bring you a lot of that content really, really soon. So that will be next Wednesday, I believe.
Tune in next Wednesday, every Monday and Wednesday for episodes. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.